name's Danny Bonds from Tacoma, Washington, on the hill. It was crazy because it was just you never knew what you were going to get into when you went to the hill. And like where I lived, it was like it was considered a little bit of like, it was old Tacoma, so if you crossed the street, you were on the hilltop. So like that was over by Tacoma General and Mary Bridge and stuff, and like Wrights Park and stuff. We all grew up around that area. It was three homies. It was me, Markel, and David. And we all started banging at the same time. But we just drifted off into different factions, you know what I'm saying? So growing up on the hill, you really had to be on your P's and Q's. If you weren't, then you might get your ass kicked, you might get shot, something might happen to you. And if you were out of bounds, then just duck low.
In the late 1980s, Tacoma, Washington, and particularly the Hilltop neighborhood where Danny was growing up, saw a dramatic rise in gang activity. At the center of this shift was the emergence of the Hilltop Crips, a gang that would become the most notorious in the Pacific Northwest. Local accounts and law enforcement reports from that era often link the Boyds and Bonds family as key figures in founding and early leadership of this organization. When Danny Bonds was growing up here, the Hilltop Crips were at their peak, and Danny's family were some of the original founders.
Like I said, we all met around elementary school into middle school type shit. So I started maybe 8, 9. You know what I mean? And then basically going into 6th grade, that's when it really kick-started, because now I'm around my peers and we're all from the same neighborhood and stuff like that. So it was real easy to get into something, you know what I mean? You had two choices, you know what I mean? And the Bloods were not allowed, and I think there was 1 or 2 Bloods that actually went to Jason Lee and made it out alive, because that's how bad it was. And I give props to those niggas too, because those are my homeboys still to this day.
This group was largely modeled after the Crips from Los Angeles. However, in the Hilltop, the gang took on its own identity, shaped by the local social and economic environment, and became known as Washington's first homegrown gang. Families like the Boyds and the Bonds were instrumental in establishing this identity. These were multi-generational families, some of whom had migrated from California or who had existing ties to West Coast gang culture. Their involvement brought not only leadership and structure, but also credibility to the formation of the Hilltop Crips in Tacoma. The Hilltop Crips became so notorious, they are literally part of Tacoma street history. Much of this was tied to the growing drug trade. This surge wasn't isolated to Washington, it was happening all over America, driven by economic decline and the crack epidemic. This fueled the expansion of street gangs beyond their traditional stronghold in places like Los Angeles and Chicago. In the late 1980s, major gangs like the Crips, Bloods, and Gangster Disciples, originally rooted in cities like Los Angeles and Chicago, began to expand their operations into the Pacific Northwest. The reason for this move came down to supply and demand. Smaller cities in Washington offered less resistance from rival gangs compared to overcrowded, heavily policed urban areas in California. The local market for drugs, particularly crack, cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines, was growing, and local dealers couldn't meet the demand. Back then, dealers could make 4 to 5 times as much as they could in places like Los Angeles. With the arrival of these gangs came a rise in drug trafficking, gun violence, and territorial disputes. Open-air drug markets, drive-by shootings, and recruitment of young people into the gang life became more common. Some neighborhoods in cities like Tacoma and South Seattle were hit particularly hard. Crack cocaine was a major driver, bringing quick profits but also fueling violence and serious addiction. The violence reached a national audience in 1989 when a group of off-duty Army Rangers stationed at Fort Lewis, now Joint Base Lewis-McChord, engaged in a dramatic televised standoff with gang members who had been shooting at their homes. This incident highlighted the gravity of the situation and put Hilltop in a national spotlight. By 1990, police had recorded approximately 150 drive-by shootings in the Hilltop, a staggering number that illustrates how prevalent violence had become in the neighborhood.
I mean, the Hilltop has always been mainly an urban area. It's always been heavy in the crime and shit like that. But when the crack era happened, that's when it got really bad, because the LA gangs came over from California to start, distributing crack to the, what I'm saying, the little niggas from the hood and shit like that, which those little niggas were all my family. You know what I mean? So basically, you have Rolling 60s and you have Hoopers. We were based off of Rolling 60s. You know what I mean? A lot of the big homies, Big Looney, Big Pilo, Big Stretch, Diamond, Malone, all those fools, you know what I'm saying? Those are all family, And plus those weren't the only families, because you gotta think Hilltop was based off of family. So you had your Bonds and the Boys, you had your Bradleys, you had the Posies, you had the Rollins, you had all that shit. So we are all cool together. We all grew up together in the same hood and everything like that. But a lot of the niggas, they broke up. We had the BBC, we had the MPG, we had the 1-6 clique, the Young Hilltops, the 2-1 Hoovers. We had all that shit. But we were all clique. We had the neighborhood Crips, 25th Street. We had all that. But Hilltop was numero uno. Neighborhood came second.
Crip sets are generally made of several different smaller groups known as cliques. Each clique is formed to separate different groups within the same gang, known as a set. The Hilltop Crips were still the first homegrown gang in the Northwest, and were not taking orders or claiming streets or sets in California. They are completely separate from California and were born in the 1980s in the heart of the crack era, when California gangs were taking over their streets.
And then after that, you like I said, you had your different cliques within your own faction. So Murder Block was where I was from. We call them Murder Block gangsters. That's 2-3 Murder Block. And then you have the 1-6 clique. That's on 16th Street. And then you have, let me backstep. Then you had the 2-1 Hoovers, but they disbanded maybe late 90s. You know what I'm saying? They're not really big out there anymore. And then you had the Young Hilltops. That was the 1-5s, and those niggas were off the chains, because that's pretty much your stepping stone of being a Hilltop, as a young Hilltop. The guns and shit didn't really get into play until I started getting maybe 13, 14, and I started dabbling into drugs a little bit more too.
The Tacoma Police Department raided over 130 crack houses last year.
Is this the sixth time we've gotten you to crack house?
Oh, no, I haven't been counting.
Haven't been counting.
Drug-related arrests have skyrocketed 100% in this medium-sized city over the past 5 years.
How old are you? How tall are you? Are you white?
So many people are being arrested here on charges of drug dealing and using. The county jail, now only 5 years old, holds twice the number of prisoners it was built for.
What's so sad about shit was the crack. The crack, that shit destroyed families, destroyed just everything. I've seen my cousin Kinlo, God rest his soul, he started getting high on his own supply towards the end of his death. And it was that was becoming a common thing. Snitching became a common thing. You know what I mean? And this is all starting to happen hitting to the mid-90s and shit. 94, when all this happened. But then I got a savior, man. And I'm not gonna call him no savior like he's some kind of god or something, but he got me off the streets. And Jacob Bellamy, J1, Big J1. He was fresh out of prison, and he was looking for an artist to be on his album with him. And by then, I was maybe like 14, 15, and I was starting to get into rapping and shit, writing, and you know what I'm saying, writing songs, whatever. I had a girlfriend that was in a group home, and like one of the chicks that worked there, she was dating J1, and she told him about me. We hooked up. He took me to the studio the first time we kicked it, and then bam, I was in the rap game. I was at a party on the east side, and like I should have known not to go there. It was stupid because it was my homeboy's party, but all his people were Bloods, you know, and GDs and shit like that. So I walk up in there with a blue flannel on, blue Dickies, some blue shoes, whatever, you know what I'm saying, in a house full of Bloods and GDs. And so I knew it was trouble when I seen the homie K-Swiss walk through the party, because like I said, this is a Blood and GD party. I was already out of bounds. Them niggas were ready to beat my ass that night. I don't know what the fuck. By the grace of God, that didn't happen. But so they run through the house. They walk, they leave, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's like, what the fuck's up with that? I'm like, oh shit. So not even maybe 30, 45 minutes, about 5 cars roll up. And they're like, what's up, cuz? And after that, I was like, oh shit. So I said, oh shit, I was on the porch when all this shit happened. So I run in the house, I run to the back, I run into the bathroom and hide like in the closet, because those old Tacoma houses, like, and you had a big pantry space in your bathroom. So you had like a little spot at the bottom where you can crawl under, and you know what I'm saying? And there was already a girl in there hiding with me, and she's sitting there praying like, oh my God, please don't let me die tonight. Oh my God, please. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm telling her to shut up because she's stressing me out. So after I stopped hearing the gunshots for a minute, I run to the back, and I hop over the fence. Them niggas pull up right on the side where I hopped the fence, and they started letting loose. I hopped back over the fence, and I didn't even know I was shot at this time. So I'm so pumped full of adrenaline, trying to get the fuck away, I just passed out when the paramedics found me. But what's so crazy about it, I got shot in my kneecap, and like to this day, that shit, when it gets cold, this shit hurts like a motherfucker. And so after that, I took a little break from the whole banging shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I started getting into music because I was already into music before, but I just didn't really take it seriously. So I'm all healed up. I'm getting ready to go into high school. I started selling crack a little bit. Wasn't that good at it. That just wasn't my bag. You know what I mean? Like, I was more into the banging side of shit. And that's when I met J1. And when I met J1, he was fresh out of prison. And he had a vision that he wanted to come out with his album, and he wanted some feature people on there, you know what I'm saying, that were from the hood. And he gave me that opportunity, just like you're giving me this opportunity to tell my story. He gave me the opportunity to, you know, do my thing in the booth, and I owe a lot to him for that, because he showed me how to have studio presence, how to be professional, how to write. You know what I mean? Like, he taught me all that shit. We come out with a CD about summer 1996. It's called J1 in the Hills of Darkness. And that album right there was probably one of the first albums that really put the hilltop, you know what I'm saying, like on wax, you know what I'm saying? Actually, people representing the hilltop, you know what I mean? And we were getting love from motherfuckers coming from Seattle, California. Like, I mean, I stopped going to school at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the fuck do I need to go to school? I'm doing music. And by the time 9th grade year was ending, I already have my CD out. And I showed it to the homie, one of my rivals. And it not rival like in the streets, but like, lyrically, like rapping and shit. Like, I showed it, he's like, how the fuck? And then he just closed his locker and walked off. You know what I'm saying? So he, J1, he saved my life, man, because I was a crash out, man. You gotta remember, like, I was just doing too much. And he tried his hardest to calm me down, keep me cool. He's like, nigga, you don't need to react like that all the time. Stop hitting everybody up with your gang signs and stop doing this stuff. He really taught me discipline. Because out there, I was just going crazy. But when he got me in the booth, it was like, okay, this feels a lot better. You know what I mean? Then all that anger and all that rage and shit went away. You know what I mean? Like, because I was an angry little nigga about a lot of shit. But still, like, that shit comes and goes. You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to be butterflies and rainbows. And that whole situation with the music fucked up, literally. It was good at the start of the summer. It was totally dismantled by the end of it. It was, we started putting niggas on from the hood. Like, we had this dude named J-Time that was a big hustler out there, and he put money into the album. So he thought he was entitled to what we did and what we performed at shows. And we even opened up for Sally Sale, Mac Mall. I mean, like big names back in those days. You know what I mean? Like, the Sally Sale show was funny as fuck. Oh my God. Like, Sally Sale, don't be mad at me, nigga, when I tell you this story, because you know you did wrong, motherfucker. So there was this club over there in University Place, and this is 1996. This is when It's Going Down Tonight. That's when that song came out. So the homies, they flew the nigga out here. They even paid for his way to come out here and everything. So the night of the show is at this place called the Rain Tree. Mind you, this is a 21 and over establishment. I'm still in that motherfucker, drinking, smoking, whatever. You know why? Because my cousin Ken used to sell the owner coke. So I got in. They said, fuck it, like, let them in, just put them in the back. But when it's time for them to perform, then they can go up on the floor and do their thing. So we did our thing. We killed it. We're partying. We're celebrating. Next thing you know, it's time for Shelly Sale to perform. He walks in through the back, and the nigga's already looking scary. He's like looking around and shit. And so it's time for him to perform and shit. So we give him a shout out, like, you know what I'm saying, announce his name to the stage and shit. Next thing you know, the music stops and he's walking back to the VIP room because there's about like 30 or 40 Crips on the fucking stage with him and shit. Straight just surrounded the nigga, dude, for real. So the nigga puts down the mic. He's like, man, fuck this. And he comes in the back of the VIP room. Me and J1, we're sitting back there. We're by ourselves. And we're sitting back there. I mean, we're literally smoking in the club and shit. This nigga comes back to me and J1. We're like, what's wrong, cuz? He's like, man, there's too many niggas on the stage. I'm like, nigga, them niggas here to show you love, cuz. Like, you better go out there and put it down, nigga. And J1's like, yeah, cuz, like, come on, man. Like, come on, I'll introduce you again, man. Come on, like. So he grabs the mic. He's like, come on to the stage. You're that nigga selling sales going down. You know what I mean? Like hyping him up. He goes on stage, and the nigga starts lip singing. The nigga starts lip singing. As soon as the DJ caught wind to that, you went, show over. That nigga at Sally Sale got back in the limo. He ain't been back to Tacoma since. That's 1996. You know what I'm saying? That's 1996, Sally Sale. Sorry, nigga, I'm sorry, I had to do it. But then, you know, that was a good moment, you know what I mean? And then we even the Mac Mall was a good moment. And this is all within the same summer. And it started getting bad, you know, after the Mac Mall, because now egos are created. And he got flew in, and he was at the Tacoma Mall shopping and shit. And we bumped into that nigga. And like, we already knew that he was at the mall and shit. We were just like trying to see what's up. And like, yeah, we're about to open up for you tonight, man. He's like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah, that's what's up, man. So we all get suited and booted, you know what I'm saying, get ready for the show. And it's down at this little club downtown Tacoma, over there by the train tracks, or by Freight House Square. They used to call it, I think they call it the Odyssey or something like that. And we go for like mic check and shit like that. You know what I mean? Me and Mac Mall were sitting up on the little platform smoking, you know what I'm saying? Chopping it up. I'm like, what you about to perform tonight? Cause I'm about to perform Get Right, Don't Feed Lullaby, you know, all that shit. And I'm like, and he's like, what about you? I'm like, you know, Premeditated 2003, Stay Mac and all this shit, you know what I mean? And we did a great show. That was a great show. We even took pictures with the nigga and everything, you know what I mean? And but after that, that's when the ego started getting involved, and that's where heads started bumping. You know what I mean? Like disputes over money. Like I was put in a position where after that show, my big homie hits me up, J1 hits me up, and he's like, yeah, I need the heat. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, J-Time tried to fuck me out of some money. And mind you, this is like 200, maybe 300 bucks. You know what I mean? And this nigga about to go kill this nigga over it. So I give him the pistol. He don't do nothing that night. You know what I'm saying? So the next day, J1 comes swoops me up. He's like, yeah, I'm about to get him up with this nigga. But what I need you to do, I need you to hold the heat while we're fighting. So if that nigga try anything, you can pop that nigga. You know what I mean? So we get to my cousin's house. Malone Boyd, they call him Big Time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in the house, I'm like smoking some weed or doing something, you know. The big homie Duke, I was fresh out at the time, he's supposed to monitor me while I'm monitoring them. So if I didn't do my job, then that was my ass. You know what I mean? So I hear, little J1, come on, cuz, come back here. So I had to go in the backyard. These two niggas are in white beaters, you know what I'm saying? One has rings on, the other one has gloves on. And these niggas are basically beating each other's ass. And I'm holding this big ass 357 in my fucking pants. And I got the big homie looking at me. He's not even looking at them, he's looking at me. So they have a fair fight, break it up, tell them niggas to hug it out. And we go about our business, but that wasn't the end of that shit. And basically, there was a lot of fuck shit going on in that situation too. There were some good times, but there was some fucking foul shit that was going on, you know. And we had some shit that we needed to do. So I dropped out officially in the 10th grade just to do music full time. And we had access to a studio that was in Tacoma over there off of 56 on the east side. There was a little garage and shit. We had, and this is back when we had the ADAT machine, the fucking DAT machine, the ASR 10 keyboard, all that shit. But it was a plush, you know what I'm saying, like makeshift studio. And like I said, ego started getting involved, and we lost access to that studio. We lost access to a lot of shit because we were doing some real demonic shit. You know what I mean? Like J1, he would go to church every Sunday and play the piano because he was a genius. Like that's who made all of our beats was J1. Like his whole family played in music, but he specialized in the synthesizer and the worm and all that shit that was important back in the days for 90s rap. So he would go to church and play, and he would get paid for playing the piano. And we would take that money, go get some liquor and some weed, get fucked up after church. But what's so fucked up is J1 persuaded one of the deacons to like kind of put something into our music. Mind you, our album's called Hills of Darkness. Hills of Darkness. And we're in a church. And we actually got the deacon to come kick it at the studio with us. And after that, his life fell apart. He fucking started cheating on his wife, started smoking weed, started drinking. We did that to him. We corrupted that man. You know what I'm saying? I feel like shit about that because he had a good life, straight laced, didn't fuck with nothing. But as soon as we entered his life, shit fell apart. After that happened, I moved in with J1. And he had a little townhouse over there off of 80s, like 96 and Ogden or something like that. And nice little crib and shit. And he was doing his music heavy. Like, he was getting actually paid for his music, like making beats and shit like that. And he would get paid like whether we got paid in like 1,000 e-pills, like ecstasy and shit like that. We got paid in that, you know what I mean? And that just fell apart too because of ego. I mean, like, the whole music experience with J1 was just a fail, major fail. We were actually going to get signed to Brother Lynch's old label, Black Market Records. We're actually going to get signed to them, but J1 fucked that up. So, yeah, he fucked off a lot of opportunities for my career. He helped a lot of my career because he taught me the ropes, but he didn't do a good job of keeping the cipher going, man, and that's what really sucked. So this is 18. I'm approaching. So that was 18. I'm 19 now. I'm back with my mom and shit. No, actually, yeah, I am back with my mom. I'm 19 now. Oh no, I'm more of a party dude now. I'm just experimenting with drugs more and shit like that. I'm still kicking on the hill, but not as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, really just finding my way without the hill, like, you know, attached to me. And that's when I started dabbling with drugs and shit, man. That's when I hook up with my cousins and shit, and I started kicking it out in Federal Way. You know what I mean? That's where they reside at. You know what I mean? We're partying, we're smoking, we're drinking, we're doing coke, and you know what I mean, having a good time, and you know what I mean, like, so I get to, you know, meet a lot of new dudes from different hoods and shit like that. Like, my cousins, they always rode with the Hilltops, you know what I'm saying, because I was from Hilltop. But my cousin Julian was from Rolling 20s. Then I had a homie JP, he was from Nutty Block, 9 Deuce. And then there was, you know, the blood homie Sean, you know what I mean? Like, we're all clicked together, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all kicking it together, and we're not really on that banging shit, but we on some serious Crip shit though. You know what I'm saying? So we moved to a house on 72nd Portland Avenue, straight blood hood. You know what I mean? And they know that they caught wind that there's Crips living right there. So they're driving by our house every day. Fuck you, blood. Crab ass niggas, we're coming back to get you, homie. Woo. So after so many times of that shit, we were like, okay, no, this is not happening. So what's so crazy, the homie Sean, that's a blood, he's not from ESP or any of those places. He's a Hawaiian blood, but he has Cambodian roots and, you know, shit like that. So he hits up some of his Cambodian blood homies, and they come over to the crib one day, and they got a sawed-off shotgun and a double barrel, and they say, "Here, blood, if you need us, just let me know." I still got love for them niggas to this day. I love y'all niggas, man. B, all y'all niggas, much love. Sean, much love, nigga, for real, because y'all was down to ride for some Crips that you didn't barely know. And so by this time, it's like super bang mode. Like, this was we had to, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Yeah, so these were Eastside Pirus. You know what I'm saying? These were Eastside Pirus. So finally, this got to a point where, like, enough is enough. So one day they were rolling by the house, and we happened to be outside. So we grabbed a shotty. Like, mind you, this is in the middle of the day. We're running down the street with the shotty. The Bloods Parker hop out. They see us, and then they run back, and they leave. And then we never hear from those niggas again. So then we had problems with a couple Bloods that live down a couple houses down because a couple of their bitches came over to kick it with us or whatever because, you know, Crips do it better, whatever. But they come over to kick it with us. So when the blood niggas called my house and shit because the bitches gave them our number and shit, and this is back before cell phones were really like popular and shit like that. Like they didn't have an iPhone or anything like that. But they call. Where's what's her face at? I'm like, she's right here. Put her on the phone, blood. I'm like, what? So all I did was, and I said, you need to go home, bitch. And we never heard from them bloods again because you know what they said, them niggas are strapped over there heavily. Like them niggas will, like we won that war. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, is one time we all came together and we all got like maybe 2 cars deep. And we went to Franklin because we heard that's where them blood niggas were kicking it at. So we parked, we hop out, we got C-rags around our necks and shit like that. We posted up, waiting for these niggas to come. The blood niggas come from behind, but you know what they do? They come up and shake my hand like, what's up? Blood niggas, no blood niggas. Come on, hey, what's up, homie? That's how you knew we won that war. They did not fuck with us after that. You know what I'm saying? The Cambodian Bloods had this minivan that they had a 50 cal mounted in. So, whenever you saw that minivan, you better haul ass. Cambodian niggas are crazy, dude. Like, for real. Like that's the reason my brother got shot by one of them little niggas. He got a bullet in his neck to this day. Like, they will not take that motherfucker out. They take it out, he's paralyzed. Because it had to do with the OLBs because shortly after he got OLBK right here on his neck. And he has like not 1, but like 4 teardrops going down. That nigga's a killer. For real. But yeah, that was a triumphant time, man. Like, you know, because these blood niggas thought they were tough. Like, they were really tough. And we did not back down at all. And we all earned our stripes for that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a good time. Because, like, you know, usually niggas will pack up and leave from that. But, nah. Like I said, the Hilltop calmed down a whole lot. The gangbanging calmed down a whole lot. Back in the days, like, you know, you had your malt liquor and your fucking dollar wines and shit like that. You had your Mad Dog, your Cisco, your Thunderbird, your Night Train, your fucking Wild Irish Rose, your OE, St. Ives, Coke 45, Schlitz malt liquor. You had all that shit. And so a lot of violence was happening on the hill, dude. Like, a lot of shit was happening and a lot of you know, drinking and shit like that was going on. So they wanted to put somewhat of a kibosh on it, and that was the start of trying to shut the Hilltop down. Once they put that liquor ban on the Hilltop, that's when it really started slowing down, because you didn't have that option to go to a local store and get a 40 of OE. You had to travel to like the north end or to Lakewood, or, you know what I'm saying, where on the outskirts of town, you couldn't get your shit in town. Yeah, like the security cameras and shit like that, like they started putting them on 23rd, like the main spots. They had a couple on 23rd. They had them on 9th Street. They had them on 19th and MLK. They had them in all the spots where they felt like there would be problems, because they were really trying to crack down on the Hilltop. So, like I said, crack was still going on and shit like that, but then you had the Sherm and shit like that. A lot of Sherm smoking. I did a lot of Sherm smoking. But the cameras, like, that was just like they were watching us constantly. It was nonstop on me. You know what I mean? So, but then that's when the RICO Act was put on the Hilltop. And that's when it really slowed down, because anybody that was remotely affiliated was getting locked up. Like, I was a target for them just because of my last name. You know what I mean? Like, because the last time I was on the hilltop, like actually kicking it, my homie's house got raided. And they pulled me out, to the whole fucking routine, taking you out backwards and locking you up. They look at my ID like, bonds, huh? Well, I think I've locked up a couple of your family members. Who's the, and they're sitting there joking like, yeah, didn't you lock up? Who do I lock up? I'm like, man, fuck y'all. I'm sitting there in cuffs, whatever. So after it's all said and done, they get done raiding the spot. You know what I mean? I only had a warrant out in King County, so they let me go. And the cop pulled me over to the side and said, hey, look, I know who you are. I know who your family is. If I see you out here again, I'm arresting you. And you're going to go down. You know what the fuck's going on around here. And now, like, I was on foot. I walked my ass to downtown Tacoma, hopped on a bus. I lied to the bus driver and said, hey, Mom, I just got robbed for all my shit. She was like, man, get on the bus. And I fucking was gone. Left Tacoma. And that's when the whole Olympia saga started. I got into the whole NA shit out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to get clean and sober, and I was going to the Java flow across the street from the transit center and shit. Trying to clean my life up. I mean, I met a little chick down there, and started getting serious with her. Started, trying to be a family or whatever, and that was cool and everything. But shit just was, it started going sideways because we started doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like meth and shit like that. Because the little girl that I was raising, the chick that I was with, her little girl got epilepsy. Like really bad epilepsy. I mean, like a rare form of it. Like she could possibly die type shit. You know what I mean? But that was my little baby. You know what I'm saying? Like she known me as her dad. And when she got sick, dude, we were trying to find ways just to stay up, just to keep our eye on her. You know what I mean? So we started taking Ritalin, not Ritalin, but Adderall. And, whatever we could do to try to stay up. Meth wasn't really in the picture quite yet. And then I went and got clean. And I wasn't even clean for about 6 months before I relapsed. And moved back in with her because I had left her, at some point, because after my daughter got sick, the little girl got sick, shit started getting fucked up between us. And I went to the psych ward after she had got sick because I just couldn't take it. It was just too much stress. We were in the hospital like maybe 2 weeks out of the month. And yeah, it was really stressful. So I had a mental breakdown. I had to go to the hospital, got out, went to rehab, got out of rehab, moved into an Oxford house. It was really hard, man. Like it was a lot of pressure from her family because I stepped up and decided to be the kid's father because, her real dad was a piece of shit. So, like I said, I relapsed. I moved back in with her, and that's when we started doing meth. And that's when shit really started getting fucked up. That means the house went to shit. We went to shit. I was 200 maybe plus pounds, and not even in 2 months I dropped all that shit. I went down to 160, 165. And but she got on it the worst though. I mean, she got on it really bad. It got to the point where anything of value was traded for meth. Even I was not, above that shit. I even did the same thing. But I just felt like, like we had a chance to be a family, and she fucked that up too. Because she wanted to get high. Like, so this is about 2012, 2013. We moved to Bremerton. And this is a fresh start. We're getting our shit together. We're getting clean. We're going to get our own place. And, we had nice furniture, all that shit. We moved into this nice little duplex. Turns out the lady that lived next door, she was a tweaker, and my girl caught wind of that, and then she kind of weaseled her way over there, and then it was on again, on a cracking. And this time it was worse than before. You know what I'm saying? And like the fighting, the chick wasn't even getting up to get her kid ready to go to school. I mean, we were getting arguments about that because the deal was she got her ready for school, I got her off the bus. You know what I mean? But the majority of the time I was doing that because she was so miserable if she wasn't high. The only time she wanted to spring into mommy mode is when she was high. That's fucked up. And now, so and things are getting really bad with us. I left her a couple of times. I didn't left. Well, she kicked me out a couple of times, and I moved back to Olympia for a little bit. Then I moved back, and then by summer of 2000, I think 14, I was packed up and on my way back to Olympia permanently. And that's when the whole J Rush saga comes into play. The whole J Rush saga, I mean, we already were fucking with each other before I moved to Bremerton, but not that much. But when I moved back to Olympia, that's when it really cracked off. And there was this place that he was living at called the Compound. And if you know anything about the Compound, you know that place was fucked up. So, I'm back in Olympia. I hit him up. I'm like, hey, man, I'm back in town. He's like, dude, come over, like ASAP. I go over there. My mom drops me off over there, right? And we go into the gate, and she's like, whoa. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, good luck with all that. And she tells me to get the fuck out the car, and she takes off. So I'm walking up, and I'm like, dude, like, this house don't got no plumbing, no running water, nothing. These niggas up here trapping it out. I mean, it was so trapped out. These motherfuckers were getting high outside. It was that crazy. I mean, we were trapping it up. I mean, like, the first couple of times I kicked it there was a body in the house. Yeah. Me and Jay have a song called Body in the Trap House. I'm over there kicking it and shit. I've been over there for a couple of days and shit. And, like, I keep smelling this really foul, pungent smell. And you know, if you've ever smelled death before, you can't mistake it. I keep telling Jay, I'm like, Jay, there's a body in this house somewhere. What the fuck? Like, do you not smell that? And he's like, yeah, I do, but what could it be? I'm like, it's a fucking body, dude. And what's so crazy is as soon as like I started saying shit about that smell, a chick moved in from across the way and moved into the space where the body was at. Because it was in a crawl space. And the door was closed, so she just moved into the crawl space and was like guarding that fucking door so nobody would go in it. So I have a song called Body in the Trap House. Yeah, we had some good times there, but it was a lot of nerve-wracking times because it's just like the whole scene and shit. So, I mean, throughout the years, we're just trapping it up, partying, getting high, making music, you know, really living that life. And really, that's been my life since then, up until now, is, it was a crazy ride, and we've been through a lot of shit. Jay will always be a brother of mine. He helped me when my dad died. My dad, like I said, he had a problem with, you know, substance abuse and shit like that, and addiction. He had let some little toss up come from the homeless shelter across the street over to his house. Well, I guess they were partying and whatever, and she maybe gave him some fentanyl, and he died. And the fucked up part about it, he died with a pipe in his hand. But what's really fucked up about it is she didn't call nobody. She sat in that fucking apartment with him for 10 days. 10 days. All she did was put a blanket over him and lit incense for 10 days. And that shit fucks with me. I made peace that he's gone, but the way that he died, I can't get over. That's one thing that I will never get over. Is that. It's one thing when you lose a parent, when you lose them to something like that, that's a legacy you're leaving behind. You know what I mean? So, like, my advice to anybody out there that's a father, just do your fucking job. You know what I mean? And don't die without any dignity. At least have some dignity when you die. Don't die like a fucking fiend, like my dad did. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, that shit fucks with me to this day. He's been gone since February. But it's something I have to get over. So yeah, that's my story, man.
In recent years, the Hilltop neighborhood has undergone gentrification and redevelopment. But the legacy of the era still lingers. Some neighborhoods are still dealing with the long-term effects of drugs and violence introduced during this time, including general poverty, distrust in law enforcement, and cycles of incarceration. We hope that you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to our channel. It helps support us in making more content like this.
You can hit me up on Facebook. It's just Danny Bonds, DANNYBONDS. I mean, you can hit me up on Instagram. I have a video on YouTube. You just type in Danny Bonds, wait and see, and it'll pop right up. I have music on SoundCloud. Type in Danny Bonds, Subliminal LP. It'll pop up. Show your boy some love. And I'll catch you next time.